Good morning. It is February 21st, 9:31 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm in Central Florida in the Poinciana area. I'm going to leave the hospital and head towards home. There was an update waiting for me this morning. Tesla FSD supervised 13.2.8. In reviewing the release notes, I don't see anything obvious as far as changes, but we'll see if anything interesting goes on. So enter in the distance here is just under 8 miles, 20 minutes en route. So I've got a Insta360 camera, this time in 360 mode, mounted on top of a selfie stick wedged between the passenger seat and the center console. The camera is a little bit below eye level, just to avoid being blocked out by the rear view mirror here. So I've got it in drive mode, and I went ahead and activated the FSD coming out of the parking place. So we're in the parking lot. Many times it would not allow you to activate in the parking lot, so I think they're trying to improve the end-to-end experience. One thing I noted on the previous drives, not all of which were recorded, is that it will at least sometimes try to park at superchargers, but I found that it's not using the normal auto park feature, which is really quite refined, and the parking was pretty crude. It would pretty much just straddle the line between two parking places the last couple of times it tried to park at the destination. So I think whoever's writing the FSD software needs to get together with whoever wrote the auto park software and get those two things merged, or maybe a handoff to the auto park software, which again is quite good, because right now the auto parking at destination is pretty crude.
In 500 feet, turn left onto Cypress Parkway.
So we managed to get out of the parking lot okay. We will get a test of its recognition of barricade and entry gate into the neighborhood this time. The last couple of times we encountered a barricade, it slowed enough to give the barricade time to open. I think we're going to be entering in our normal residence gate this time, which takes a little bit more time to open the barricade, so we'll see if it's really recognizing it or if it was just going slow before, allowing time for the gate to open. So I'll be curious to see how that works. But I've not had to discontinue or disconnect the FSD mode the last 2 or 3 drives through these gates, so I have to say it is improved over what it used to do, where it would just drive right into the gate if you didn't stop it, or rather drive right into the barricade at least. I do have another book on the market as of yesterday, at least in the Kindle edition, with the paper versions coming out today and the audio just about to go into production. It's called Conquest of the New World, which is my first effort at a pure science fiction book. The basis of the book is that Earth in general has been transmitting radio and television signals to the universe basically since the 1920s. And after doing some ChatGPT associated math, it turns out that these signals have already reached at least 1,000 star systems, many of which have planets in the habitable zone. So if you're not familiar, a habitable zone would be a planet on which the temperatures could support at least part-time water in a liquid form. therefore amenable to life as we know it, at least on this planet. So it would be shocking that out of 1,000 planets receiving our radio signals and TV signals, that some intelligent beings have not already seen them by now. But unless somebody has conquered faster than light travel, such as quantum travel, the number of people or entities that could actually do something about it would be quite limited just because of distance alone. But the closest star system with habitable planets is about 5 light years away. This book gets into a lot of technical details, and it is, of course, a fiction book about the challenges of interstellar travel. We all will know that you're not really supposed to be able to travel faster than the speed of light, but really the actual practical speed limit is much lower than that, because even though we consider space to be more or less a vacuum, as you approach speeds in the range of 6 to 10% of the speed of light, the occasional molecules that you might encounter in space act more like an atmosphere, and given the velocities involved, actually can abrade or damage a spacecraft as you approach 6% of the speed of light. So that said, travel from the nearest star system at 6% of light speed would take close to 90 years. But since our signals have been going in space for almost 100 years now, or maybe at 100 years, it is conceivable that neighbors could be visiting us soon. So that's sort of the basis of the story. You can imagine where this might go. The story is largely set in Central Florida, which is where most of the space-related activity goes on these days with the Kennedy Space Center and various contractors, including SpaceX, in this area. And the book gets into all of that. So it's sort of a cross between a Tom Clancy novel and an Arthur C. Clarke novel in terms of the issues involved, as well as the social issue of conquest. When you have an advanced civilization visit one that's not so advanced, such as happened when the Europeans arrived to the Americas, things don't usually go so well for the people with less advanced society. And all these issues are covered in the book as well. So it's Conquest of the New World, or La Conquista del Nuevo Mundo for the version in Espanol. Available on Amazon. Check it out. Leave a review if you read the book. So back to our drive, we have the usual bumper-to-bumper traffic heading north towards Orlando. Again, Poinciana is a community that's not really a city, but it has about 7,000 or 80,000 residents, growing every day. But there are not nearly 70,000 jobs in this area, so most of the people here that work are headed up to the Orlando area for their day jobs, which creates a lot of northbound traffic in the morning and southbound traffic in the afternoon. So I'm enjoying a machine-made mochaccino, sort of like a mocha drink mixed with an espresso this morning. Compliments of the hospital. As many people have noted about the version 13.2.7, the FSD now is driving pretty human-like for the most part, much smoother than it used to be. I do have the car in hurry mode, and I have the speed set to 15% above speed limit as the available speed. For some reason they're recommending 40% above the speed limit, which doesn't seem like such a great idea. the settings. There are no blue marks to suggest any changes in the configuration screens.
In 500 feet, bear left onto Pleasant Hill Road. Now bear left onto Pleasant Hill Road.
So we're about 2.5 miles from the entrance to the neighborhood. Looks like we're going to be going through the same main entrance where the guard shack is and not going through the residence entrance. So I'm going to disengage before we get there because I want to test the residence entrance, because we've already gone through the other one a few times without any issues. So I want to see if it will still recognize the barricade and gate at the slower entrance here. So as we get a little bit closer, I'll disengage, and then once committed to this other entrance, I'll re-engage the autopilot, the FSD that is. So here we go, disengaging. Go ahead and get into the right lane here. So I'm manually driving now.
In 1 mile, turn right onto Barricade Drive.
Once the navigation updates, I'll re-engage the FSD.
In 500 feet, turn left
So
onto
right now the navigation is still planning to go to the other entrance.
Now turn left onto Barricade Drive.
So we're going to turn right towards this other gate. And now the navigation is updated to where I want it to go. So I've gone ahead and re-engaged the FSD. And the gate is coming up. So we put a stop sign here. So it turns out this gate gets damaged by human drivers about every week or two, which, aside from costing the neighborhood money to repair, is quite the nuisance to get here and find you can't enter. So let's see if we're going to stop. Didn't look like it was going to stop, so I waited till the hood of the car was actually under the barricade with no sign of braking, so the barricade was invisible. So that's disappointing. So I can re-engage again.